Hey, what is up guys? These just got posted on the official Konami blog site and we got two new cards to check out. One is going to be a Blackwing support card, the next card is going to be a Synchro support card. So let's go ahead and first off check out that new Blackwing support. But anyways, Black Sonic, it says when your opponent's monster declares an attack on a Blackwing monster you control, banish all face-up attack position monsters your opponent controls. And if you control exactly 3 Blackwing monsters and no other monsters, you can activate this card from your hand. That's a pretty good effect. I mean, we keep on getting some more support from Blackwings, but Konami, where's that Crystal Beast support? But nonetheless, this is going to be a really cool card for Blackwings. I mean, I would hate to actually get surprised you now get all your monsters banished. A lot of cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Revolve around the graveyard, and this just removes them so you don't have to deal with them. But there are technically cards like Levia that get things back. But nonetheless, some more Blackwing support cards. I mean, it doesn't look like they want Blackwings to die off. They keep on releasing support. They keep on bumping up like the card count. Gale's probably going to go to 3 eventually. Eventually they're going to do it. But the real card that we're going to be talking about in this video is going to be Shadow Impulse. I feel like this card opens up a lot of doors to potentially cool decks because there's a lot of Synchro monsters that don't see any play for certain reasons, which let's go ahead and jump into. So, Shadow Impulse says, when a Synchro monster or monsters you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect and sent to the graveyard, target one of those Synchro monsters, special summon from your extra deck one Synchro monster with the same level and type as that monster, but with a different name. You can only activate one Shadow Impulse per turn. So let's go ahead and check that out, and let's go ahead and bring up kind of a an example how it could be used. So, Crimson Blade, pretty good card. Sometimes when you attack over a monster, the only answer your opponent has is something like a dark hole. So let's say they finally get over Crimson Blade and you're like, oh man, I lost Crimson Blade, I'm kind of upset. Now you'll be able to actually activate Shadow Impulse and perhaps bring out a card that no one has ever really seen, Chevalier de Fleur. And I think this card is pretty cool because it has a decent effect. It's not like a super insane effect, but a lot of Synchros in this game just don't see any play because they require obscure things that you normally wouldn't play, like Fleur Synchron, which is not the best card, but this card not so bad. It says once during each of your turns when your opponent activates a spell or trap card, you can negate the activation and destroy that card. So that's pretty good in one aspect. I mean, it can get rid of that new Blackwing, Black Sonic, but really what it comes down to is there's going to be a lot of cards that people normally don't play in their extra deck because they can't make them, and now that they're going to be able to play them, which is actually really cool. I mean, more realistically, a play that would probably be better would be something like Colossal Fighter or something like that, but nonetheless, being able to just bust out, you know, another monster is pretty good. And remember, they have to be the same type. Like, you couldn't Chevalier into Scrap Dragon, but I feel like dragons get the best support out of that Shadow Impulse card. I mean, it is technically a dragon set, as I mean, it has it in the booster's name, but anyways, anything that can make level 8 dragon synchros, this card is going to really be insane. I feel like, you know, Scrap Dragon, obviously you pop itself, and it doesn't have to be destroyed by your opponent's card effect. You can destroy it by your own card effect. So I'm thinking Scrap Dragon would be pretty sexy with it, you know, pop, pop, and then you go, oh, you know what, I'm going to bust out a Beals, which is a really cool card that normally some decks can't make because it requires that Dark Tuner. Hey, don't worry about that with Shadow Impulse. Shadow Impulse gets rid of those requirements of, you know, an Earth monster, a Fire monster, a warrior monster, something like that. It gets rid of those, you know, little requirements, and being able to make something like Void Ogre Dragon. Let's say that they finally get over that, and you're like, okay, it's cool, Beals. Like, that's really cool. Another thing that would be fun to make is something like a Junk 6 Samurai deck, because Junk Warrior, once he dies, you can bust out a 6 Samurai Xian. So I really feel like there's a lot of utility for this card. I feel like a lot of different decks can just, you know, splash in this card and just see what they can make, and I think that is going to be really cool. But one thing I do want to mention that it is important, something like, for example, Horseprint and Vulcan. One thing with some Synchro monsters, they only get their effect when this card is Synchro Summon, and I believe this will not count as it. I mean, if they happen to change the wording on it, and if it says this counts as a Synchro Summon, because I'm pretty sure that that just counts as a special summon. If it does, then, you know, that'd be really cool. Then, I mean, heck, you could go into a level 7, then go ahead and be like, oh, let me go ahead and bring out Black Rose, okay, effect. But I'm pretty sure that this will not count as a Synchro Summon. I know some fusion cards, they count as a fusion summon when it's activated or something like that, but for the most part, I do not think it will be activated. But if it changes, or I'll let you guys know in the description box. But if you guys happen to know if it counts as a Synchro Summon, my guess is it's not going to count as a Synchro Summon, so some certain cards just won't actually work with it. But nonetheless, being able to make Beals in like any deck, that's looking pretty cool, and bringing out, you know, random obscure cards like Chevalier de Fleur or any other cards will be pretty cool. I actually looked it up on DevPro. I looked and went through every different type with the same level, and I couldn't really find any really insanely good combos, but you know, in the future, once they release more synchros, or if you guys know any really crazy synchro combos that we can pull off with this. And what's really cool with this card, unlike that spell card that special summons all the monsters from the graveyard, it doesn't have a real downside effect. Obviously, its attack becomes 0, and its effect is negated in the anime, but you know, nonetheless, there's no downside really in the actual effect. We'll hide this, because that's the anime effect. What's funny is usually the anime effects are the better effects, but it's totally fine. We have really no downsides to this card at all, other than you can only use one of them per turn. But what's really cool also is I was thinking you could use it to crash, you know, crash monsters, and then bring out another monster. I mean, there's a lot of utility with Shadow Impulse. I feel like this card could open up a lot of doors in certain decks. But anyways, like I said, guys, if you know any crazy combos with Shadow Impulse, or what decks can really utilize Shadow Impulse, and what we can potentially build, because like I said, I want to build a Junk 6 Samurai deck just because I think it'd be really funny. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Azneyes signing out.